Hi, good morning. Welcome back to Mike Makes It. We're in the Defender. Got a little problem with the electrics. The indicator stalk here. Indicators are good still. Horn's okay, but it's the main beam. A little bit loosey-goosey. When you push it forward, it don't really know where to go. Sometimes it flicks back when I want the main beam on. Just go around to the side. This is the offended article. It's difficult to come across on the camera, granted, but there's no real position for the main beam. You push it forward for main beam on the Defender and you pull it back to flash. Horn's okay and indicators are okay, as I said a few moments ago. But the forward position for main beam to be on, sometimes it flicks back on its own. The D10 position isn't so good. I'll take you into the garage. I've got a spare one lined up already, so I can show you what I'm talking about. Right, there you go. That's the part I'm talking about. In a box, just about to get it out. There you go for the part number. Now, this is a genuine Lucas part. You can get aftermarket items. This was £38. Aftermarket ones are £22. So if you're on a budget, yeah, pay your £22. But I kind of feel with Lucas, this is what Land Rover fit. I'd like to think it's going to last as long as I. So let's get out the bag. It's brand new. A bit difficult with one hand. I'll take it out, bear with me. Alright, there we go. Brand new unit. Only problem is steering column's got to go through that hole. So the steering wheel's got to come off. Which I've never done before, so hopefully I'm not going to have to fight with it. But we'll see. But I'll put the camera down. You can see what I'm on about with the D10 on this. Alright, that's pretty much the way it's going to go on the truck. Now if I push this forward, if it isn't already, you can hear a positive click and a return. There's your flash. But yeah, it's mechanism basically inside on the old ones just worn out. It's not worth trying to fix. By the time you take it off, take the steering wheel off, fiddle around, put it back, find out it's still not very good, you might as well just put this on. So yeah, proper click, click, click. So yeah, let's get in the Land Rover, get the steering wheel off and a few other bits around the steering column and weak this on. Should be fairly straightforward. I did notice when I was in the truck a few years ago, this clip or ring that goes around the steering column is actually broken. Not that it's really making a lot of difference because everything seems to lock in and hold itself in place, but there could be a tendency of this go a bit wibbly wobbly. It's not at the minute, but certainly with this new one on there, I should be able to lock that up reasonably well. But yeah, to the Defender. Right, there we go in the Land Rover. Right-hand drive, driver's side I'm on. Steering wheel needs to come off, but we'll deal with that in a minute. First thing I'm going to do is take the two plastic surrounds off around the steering column. I believe there's 6 screws underneath here. That'll drop out, top one will pop off. It'll expose all the electrics. Of course, we've got to get to the electrics, but this devil's got to come off as well. And I've never taken that off, so it could be a good day, could be a bad day. I'll get them screws out. That's the shroud off. There was 7 bolts, not 6, so keep an eye on them when you take them out because they're all different lengths. Okay, but yeah, there's the electrics fully exposed now. If we go around the other side, there's the main headlamp switch. We're not changing that. It's the stalk above it, which is an integral part of this metalwork. So we've got to do a little bit jiggery-pokery, change a few bits out. But the first thing, we get round here, steering wheel out, get the centre badge out, get the nut off. Hopefully the steering wheel will cooperate and we'll just pull that off, but we'll see. Right, I've got a couple of bits that might pull this out. I'll try a plastic one first. I ain't gonna have enough strength. I've got a couple of metal ones, little pointy bits that should get in and around. What I don't want to do is bodge up the steering wheel because it's the sort of thing you're going to be looking at day in, day out. If it was a very cold day, I'd warm this up. But I think we're going to be okay. There. Right, badge out. It looks about a 19mm bolt. There's a bit rusty, which don't bode well, but I'll go and get a spanner. well, I'll go and get a socket and we'll see if we can get that undone. Let's try 22. Yeah, 22mm fits. I was just contemplating on trying to ratchet on here, or my impact wrench. We'll just see how tight it is. It should be done back up to 30 Newton meters. Oh, well, there you go. That's come undone. I was going to use a Roby here, seen on previous videos, but it's come out okay. Come off okay, I should say. Right, well, I can see we've got a one nut and a lock washer. Lock washer's loose. Just got to wiggle it out. So, oh, there you go. That's all I've got on mine. One nut, one lock washer. I'm going to mark this before I go tugging on it, and we'll see if it'll wiggle out. If not, I'm going to have to build a contraption here to push this bolt through. Let me get you around to see what, show you what's going on. Here you go. So I'm going to mark the threaded part up in relationship to the steering wheel, so I've got half a chance of getting it back without the wheels pointing the wrong way when the steering wheel's straight. If I can't pull the steering wheel away in one piece, I'm going to have to come up with a contraption that'll push the centre out, but at the same time pull the steering wheel back. A bit like a bearing puller. But we've got to have to go a little bit delicate because of all the plastic that the steering wheel is made up of. And at the moment, I don't know if it's a hex shaft on here or spline shaft. If it's a square one or a hexagonal one, it'll be quite easy to put back on. If it's not, you could be off just a tad, but I have marked it in there. I'm just going to give this a little pull. Well, that come off a lot easier, thankfully, than I was expecting. So put this to one side. Let me show you what we got so far there, though. So if you're doing your own, you got a reference. Also, in case Mike forgets what he's doing. Right, there you go. I'll say this metal plate is coming out along with this blue part, which resets the indicators. Okay, it's a little bit out of focus there. Apologies for that. On the back of the steering wheel, let me show you what's going on there. Those prongs, if you want to call it that, they're the cancelling prongs for when the steering, when you've indicated left, you turn left, for instance, then you bring the steering wheel to a forward position. Those prongs will mesh in with the blue plastic there, which will reset the indicator for you, so you're not keep indicating to go left, for instance. So yeah, as you're going around the corner, you straighten up, that'll be brought back up automatically by the fact the steering wheel will lock into the blue ring gear that pulls the arm back up. So what I'm going to do now, I think, probably off camera, is pull the electrics out and get this assembly away. Then I can show you what we got before we refit the new one. Right, before I remove that, let me just show you briefly. On the left hand side, you've got two cable looms you've got to disconnect. One's for the indicator assembly here, and one's for the light switch, the main headlamps. What I will need to do, there's a nut on this side. The headlamp switch is independent of the assembly we're changing, so I need to refit this to the new assembly. But I've disconnected it here from those two cables, so yeah, that's all easy. Over here is a locking bolt or screw that somebody's done up too tight and actually split the ring, like I was telling you earlier. And underneath here, there's the last cable connection. That's for your wipers and your other bits and pieces on the right hand side. So that's disconnected. That will actually come off at the same time, so I've got to take this to the bench and swap a few nuts and bolts over and rebuild this plate. So I'll take this off now, get it to the bench, and you can have a look from there. Well, there's the old and the new assembly. You can see there's a little bit of rebuilding to do. Clearly this is the new one. Here, the wiper assembly, that needs to be swapped over. There's just a couple of bolts on that. and the headlamp switch there. There's a nut on there fixing that to the metal plate. So that should be dead easy. I'll get that done off shot and get it back to the truck. Bear with me. Take the switch off here. A 19mm spanner will fit. It's not the greatest fit, but it's going to do the trick. Okay, so let's get that off. I replaced this switch a while ago. Basically, on the headlamp switch on here, all the power of the headlamp system is taken through this little switch, and they burn out quick. You can get an additional wire loom to put in place. You don't have to chop your wiring around. It's basically a straightforward fitment, but it's got a couple of relays in it, and those relays will take the brunt off the switch. Basically, all the power that's going through this switch, once you've fitted the upgrade, will be very low current, so the switch is probably going to last a lifetime. Whereas before you're drawing 10 or 20 amps through no relay, not on my truck anyhow. Probably on later ones maybe they came up with that idea, and that's worked fine. The other thing it'll help, the lamps, headlights on the truck are never very good, and with a cable loom in there, the length, the old cable loom, and the fact this switch might go slightly high resistance, you don't always have 12 volts actually on the headlamps. You've got a voltage drop. That's taken away largely when you fit this upgrade kit. I'll put a link in the description. It's about £35, but definitely worth the money. Because I was dropping about 3/4 of a volt to the headlamps, and that makes a big difference. When you're playing with 12 to start with, yeah, so I did have a lot brighter lights after that. Just checking that is fairly square. If it didn't, Mike ain't going to be happy. I don't want to put all this back to find out it wants a little tweak, so get it right first time. Right, that's that in. Problem we're going to have with this side, you've got 2 bolts, which aren't 6 and they ain't 7. There's something in between, so the old pliers are coming out for that. But here, you've got one of those push-on, it's a washer, but it's got teeth on it. You push them in and it digs into the metal or the plastic, and they're devil to get off. So I'm going to try. If not, I'm going to have to come up with something to replace it. I'm not sure what yet, so I'm going to fight with that in a minute. In fact, now I might have spares, but I don't think so. Might be lucky though, but normally they break. I know I got my fingers in the way. Bear with me. All I'm doing is prizing that washer off. If I can find out the proper name of them, I'll let you know. Right, it's a bit squashed, but I can straighten that out. But you can see the teeth. They're like barbs that dig in. So we got that off. Now, let's unscrew this. They're not too tight. I think it's 6.5mm, or might be Imperial. Either way, I haven't got them. So luckily the pliers fit. That little washer I just took off with the teeth, you might well get one of them in the kit if you're actually replacing the washer side. I would imagine you would. But yeah, let's get these out. I wouldn't be surprised if these are Imperial. Right, that's that assembly out. And this is the old Duff one, the loosey-goosey. So get that out the way, don't need that anymore. bring this in. Obviously it's a lot quicker with the box spanner of some sort or the correct size socket. However, this will work. There you go, that's nipped up. I don't know if I can straighten this. Stand a chance of breaking it. I think we got away with it. Let's push that over. Alright, there we go. That's that, ready to fit now. All I've got to do when I'm on the car is align this up. Now it looks like there's a pip there sticking out, and if we look at the old one, yep, that's on the left hand side as you look at the column. So it potentially important, so I'll just make it the same as the one we took off. So remember that's got to go on that side. Just mark that up. Got to go there. Right, good enough. Well, that's that done. I'll just check this over, get it back on the truck. Right, ready to refit, so I'll go ahead and do this, put it all back together, and I'll show you the finished item. One thing I will say here, it is a splined shaft, not hexagonal. So I could be a click out when I put the steering wheel back on, but hopefully not. We'll see. Right, let's get the screwdrivers. I'm pleased to say that's all back together, all tested, all good. I'm not going to put the centerpiece back in yet, just in case I'm a little bit skewed with the steering wheel. It was actually a little bit skewed to start with, so I may have opportunity to correct that. But nevertheless, I've still done the nut up. On my Defender, it's 30 Newton meters. On the earlier ones, I think it's 25, but check on your own vehicle to be sure. 30 on my Defender. But yeah, that's good. That's all done. Hopefully, we'll never have to change that again. I suspect it has been changed once before because I was broken, but I can't be sure. May have been done in factory, but the bolt was done right up. So I've just nipped it, and that should be good enough. And incidentally, there is a little spigot pin that runs down the assembly that actually stops it turning anyhow, should that collar break again. But yeah, I hope you found that interesting. Thumbs up would be great. Yeah, thanks for watching.